The Shroud of Turin is more than just a piece of cloth. It's a symbol of faith, a source of mystery, and a catalyst for debate. For centuries, people have wondered, is it the genuine burial shroud of Jesus Christ, a clever medieval forgery, or something else entirely? The earliest documented appearance of the shroud dates back to the 1350s in a small town called Lirey in France. It was displayed by a French knight named Geoffroy de Charny. From the very beginning, the shroud captured the imagination of the people. On the linen, a faint yet unmistakable image of a man appeared. The man bore marks that suggested he had suffered greatly: wounds on the wrists and feet, a deep wound on the side, and bloodstains around the forehead that resembled a crown of thorns. These features seem to align remarkably with the biblical account of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Pilgrims from far and wide came to see it, many falling to their knees in awe. They believed they were looking upon the very cloth that had wrapped the crucified body of Jesus. But not everyone was convinced. From the earliest days, some in the church questioned the cloth's authenticity. A bishop even wrote to the Pope expressing doubt and suggesting that the image may have been painted. Despite this, the shroud's fame continued to grow. In 1453, the shroud was transferred to the House of Savoy, one of the most powerful noble families in Europe. Eventually, it was moved to Turin, Italy, where it resides today in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. Over the centuries, the shroud has endured fires, water damage, and several attempts at repair. One major fire in 1532 nearly destroyed it, but it was saved, though not without suffering significant damage. Burn marks and water stains still mar the cloth to this day. These scars have become part of its story, adding to the aura of something ancient and deeply revered. For centuries, the shroud was revered as a sacred relic, but it wasn't until the modern era that it became the subject of scientific scrutiny. In 1898, an Italian lawyer and amateur photographer named Secondo Pia took the first photograph of the shroud. When he developed the negative, he saw something astonishing. The image on the cloth appeared much clearer and more lifelike in negative than in positive. It was as if the shroud itself was a photographic negative. This discovery caused a sensation and sparked a wave of interest that would continue to this day. In 1978, a team of American scientists known as the Shroud of Turin Research Project, STURP, was granted access to the cloth for an in-depth examination. They conducted a wide range of tests: photographic, chemical, microscopic, and more. Their conclusion? The image was not painted, dyed, or scorched. It wasn't made using any known artistic technique. The image appeared only on the surface fibers of the linen, with no trace of pigment or binding agents. The scientists were left puzzled. How was the image formed? They couldn't answer that question. Then, in 1988, a turning point came. The Vatican authorized radiocarbon dating of the shroud. Tiny samples were taken from a corner of the cloth and sent to 3 independent labs in Zurich, Oxford, and Tucson. The results were stunning. All 3 labs dated the cloth to between 1260 and 1390 AD. If the tests were accurate, the shroud couldn't possibly be from the time of Christ. The results seemed to confirm that it was a medieval forgery, but the debate didn't end there. Critics argued that the samples used for carbon dating came from a part of the shroud that had been repaired after the 1532 fire. That area may have contained newer threads woven into the older fabric. If so, the dating results might not reflect the true age of the cloth. Later research supported this idea. Some scientists suggested that the repair area used a technique called invisible weaving, making it difficult to distinguish old and new fibers. In recent years, new methods of analysis have been applied to the shroud. Studies using infrared spectroscopy, X-ray fluorescence, and other advanced tools have produced fascinating results. One Italian researcher, Giulio Fanti, used a method based on mechanical and chemical tests. He claimed the fibers were consistent with a 1st century origin. Additionally, pollen grains and dust particles found on the shroud seemed to come from areas around Jerusalem. Could this be further evidence that the shroud is much older than the carbon dating suggests? While science continues to explore the shroud, its impact on art and culture is undeniable. From the Renaissance to the modern age, countless artists have depicted the face and forms seen on the shroud. Writers, poets, and filmmakers have drawn inspiration from its haunting image. The shroud has been featured in novels, documentaries, and debates, often sparking emotional and philosophical discussions. The shroud also holds a unique place in religious devotion. For millions, it is a sacred object that brings them closer to the suffering and sacrifice of Christ. Pilgrims who have seen it describe feeling overwhelmed with emotion. Even Pope John Paul II, when he viewed the shroud, called it a mirror of the gospel. The Catholic Church does not officially declare the shroud to be the burial cloth of Jesus, but it encourages veneration and respects the deep spiritual meaning it holds for many. Different religious traditions approach the shroud in different ways. Some Protestant and Orthodox believers view it with skepticism, while others see it as a powerful symbol. Regardless of denomination, many agree that the shroud provokes deep questions about life, death, and faith. It serves as a reminder of suffering, sacrifice, and the hope of resurrection. But questions remain. Who created the image? If it's a forgery, how was it done with such precision and without modern tools? Why does the image have three-dimensional qualities when analyzed digitally? How did it survive so many centuries, through fires and floods, and still retain its mystery? There are also ethical questions. Should the shroud be subjected to more invasive testing? Should we risk damaging a potentially sacred object in the pursuit of truth? And how should it be displayed? In a museum, in a church, or kept hidden away to preserve its mystery? The Shroud of Turin continues to baffle, inspire, and divide. It stands at the crossroads of science and faith, history and legend. Whether you believe it is the burial cloth of Jesus or a medieval masterpiece, one thing is certain: the shroud invites us to look deeper, not just at the cloth, but at ourselves, our beliefs, and the mysteries we hold dear. Perhaps the greatest mystery of the shroud is not what it is, but what it means. To some, it's evidence of divine intervention. To others, it's a brilliant hoax. But to all, it is a symbol, a powerful, silent witness to an ancient story that still echoes today. As long as the shroud endures, the questions will remain, inviting every new generation to seek, to wonder, and to believe.